Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Sweep you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. Yeah, get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, bet you this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he's king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump podcast. It's Christian. I'm your host, Kyle, also known as the hardest part of the ring. And we got some TNA for you today. Genesis. Not the Genesis of Michael McGillicuddy. How many 2010 references do I need to make before people shut this shit off? Oh, tits. Well, TNA Genesis 2005. We are, of course, fresh off the heels of Bound for Glory. That is where, of course, Rhino closed the show with the NWA Championship, defeating Jeff Jarrett in the main event after winning a crazy-ass Monsters Ball match, a legendary one. That's the one where Jeff Hardy had that insane spot, swan taunting off the stage. You know, there's barbed wire, there's tacks, there's semen, all of that. And there's a lot of that in this show as well. So don't think you're getting gypped with Genesis, folks. But speaking of Bound for Glory, my favorite part of the show was the botched Ultimate X match. Of course, that is where the X fell just randomly in the middle of the match. You know, somebody got speared off the cables bounced back and forth, and the X just came tumbling without anybody grabbing it. Then this would cause staff backstage attendants to come out with a big old ladder and hang that Joker back up with some duct tape, but apparently was not strong enough because it fucking fell again. But this time, Petey Williams was able to catch it. And we talked about this in my previous episode that I did with Young Kings Wrestling, which, by the way, go check that out in the archives. Really fun episode. But we talked about it, and it was like, was this a botch? Was this supposed to happen? And I was very convinced that it was indeed a botch, that it was not supposed to happen. And what happened a few weeks later may or may not, it might support my argument, it might go against it. I'll let that for you to decide. But TNA had their first ever 2-hour primetime special on Spike on November 3rd, 2005, just a few weeks before this show. And a great show, by the way. If you have Impact Plus, that's a pay-per-view quality show, in my opinion. Again, from November 3rd, 2005. But I mean, on that show, you saw Jeff Jarrett reclaim the NWA Championship from Rhino, because you can't have the title and somebody else for too long. You gotta get that old Double J in there to slap their nuts, or whatever he does, whatever that thing is. What the fuck is slap nuts? That's like something I always hear, but I never care to ask about. But you saw that. You saw Jarrett walk out with the title, of course, with a bunch of shenanigans with his Planet Jarrett faction. You saw some great X Division matches on that show, but you also had Mike Tenay and Don West on camera apologize for the mishap that happened at Bound for Glory. Of course, referencing the Ultimate X match where it didn't go as planned. So they basically were like, to make up for that, to make it up to you fans, we're going to offer a rematch of that Ultimate X match on free TV. So that is another match that happened on that primetime special, and a great match. And it went this time. The X did not fall. They added a couple carabiners or some chains, a couple different things, pretty similar to what we would see today from an Ultimate X match. No longer is it just some fucking Scotch tape holding that shit up. But yeah. So that's basically all that to say. That's where we are here at this point, towards the end of 2005 with Genesis. Great pay-per-view, great show, really fun to talk about as well. It's just such a fun era, in my opinion, for TNA. It's really when the momentum is really kicking off. I think, in my opinion, probably the height of the X division, and got a lot of big names coming in. Been talking about it. I've brought it up a bunch on previous episodes, previous recaps as we kind of journey through the history of TNA. But that really gets put in action on this show. Genesis. If you think about TNA Genesis 2005, you probably think about one thing: the major talent acquisition. I'll leave it at that. But big moment for TNA. Big debut kind of in the middle of the show, then kind of comes back to close it. A fun thread to witness and discuss on Genesis. But yeah, like I said, I love this era of TNA. One thing I love about it, I brought up the X division and how great it is, and I think a lot of that is attributed to like the fluidity between the TNA and Ring of Honor rosters. Because you got on this show, you got like Roderick Strong, you got Austin Aries before he's Austin Starr, you like real Austin Aries. Of course, you got like Joe and Daniels, AJ, all those guys. But it just adds so much to have that level of talent in the ring at once. I mean, there's an 8-man tag match on this show. And today in 2022, we've been conditioned, it's another multi-man tag match. Oh, it's just a throwaway bullshit thing, right? But no, at TNA, this kind of thing, it was a big deal. And I would say this match and the stuff afterward of that match was probably the most significant part of this show, other than the major debut. But lots going on. Of course, you got an X Division title match between AJ Styles and Petey Williams. You got like a crazy 6-man tag street fight to close the show. You got, barbed wire, hockey sticks, lucha libre, just incredible. This show has it all. But if you like all that shit that I just listed out, and maybe if you're just stumbling upon the Apron Bump, I implore you to go to apronbump.com, go to the episodes tab at the top and select TNA, and that'll bring you to all of my TNA episodes that I've covered thus far. I started from the very beginning, their very first 3-hour pay-per-view, Victory Road, 2004, and now we are at Genesis 2005, roughly a year afterwards, and I have covered every pay-per-view in between. So go check that out if you have not already. Check it out on wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube for the video versions of those. So always a good time talking about TNA, and was especially great today with my guest, Katie, from the ShElite Showcase. I've had her on previously in my previous WCW Uncensored 1995 episode, which was the podcast episode was fun, but the fucking pay-per-view was an abomination, to say the least. But yeah, check out Katie live on Twitch with her co-host Savannah every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get in that live chat. It's always a good time. They talk about all of the major headlines in wrestling throughout the week. They also get a lot into like New Japan, really detailed into AEW. They do a lot of unique content over there. Give the old female perspective of wrestling, which is fun. So go check that out. Like I said, live on Twitch, and of course, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube. Check out her series Inside the Mind as well, which is on that same podcast feed. So Inside the Mind, which by the way is an interview series of various podcast characters, podcast figures, probably a lot of people that you know if you're listening to this. But check me out on Inside the Mind from December 27th, I believe. It was in December. But go to the ShElite Showcase and find Inside the Mind of Kyle Bird for a little taste if you want to get introduced to it. It was a really fun time. Definitely recommend everything ShElite Showcase and Katie Kinsey. Follow her on Twitter at KatieWrasslin13. You'll find the link tree for all her shit there. But let's get right into the show. Tna Genesis 2005 with myself and Katie from the ShElite Showcase. It's not like 40 miles an hour now, but you might hear like gusts of wind randomly. That's
fine. That's fine.
Adds some ambiance.
It does. You know, it's winter. It makes sense.
It does. Yeah. I have a fucking window AC, so like the wall behind it's like very thin, so every little pop and I hear. So we'll see how this goes. Like the shirt, by the way. Love it.
Thanks. I told you I'd wear it. I told you.
I respect. If I had any Eddie shirts, I'd wear it. But
well, I bought it because Vince wanted to start this whole "he's the Pornhub Poppy, I'm not" bullshit. So I bought one.
Right. That's
because I'm petty.
No, that's a strong argument. You know, I mean, it says you're the Poppy. Like
it does.
It's right. You can't argue with that.
You can't. It's illegal.
Yeah. Well, speaking of illegal. I don't really have a segue.
I was like, what is going to be your segue for this?
Embezzling funds. No, so TNA. So did you get a chance to watch the show?
I did, actually. It was very good. Like, way better than, would you make me watch WCW something?
So wait, you're telling me that AJ Styles versus Petey Williams is better than Dustin Rhodes versus Nameless Heel number 5 in a bale of hay? You're telling me that?
1,000% yes.
To each their own, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Listen, you also made me watch a show from before I was born. I knew like 7 people on that show. This one, I knew about 99% of the people.
When were you born again?
96.
Were you in the womb during Uncensored? Is that what the show's called? Uncensored, yeah.
It started with a U. I don't remember.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Do you remember? Do you know what month by chance?
It was like early. It might have been February.
Then no.
Okay. I was about to say, if you were, then that counts. Like
Just not fucking count.
Your mom could have put the headphones on while, you know.
I guarantee you my mom was not watching that shit show.
So she wasn't watching the Harlem Heat fight the Nasty Boys with mustard and ketchup?
No. And like, didn't we say that was like the best match on the card? And that's saying something.
It was. But yes, so Genesis, you would say, is better. Well, what were your overall thoughts on it?
Fantastic fucking show. Like, the wrestling was good.
Yeah.
This was like my first taste of TNA.
Okay. It's a pretty good time to get into it.
Yeah.
Because like before Spike, which for context, this is like a month after they got to Spike TV. Mm-hmm. Everything before that doesn't fucking matter. Like it's really it's jarring how fast things change, and like because you got like people that you wouldn't even know, like Shocker. Who else? I'm trying to think. You got like random legends pop in and out, like Jimmy Snuka and Dustin Rhodes came in and out.
Okay.
Fucking, I guess, you know, CM Punk and stuff with it. So there was some good stuff actually, but
yeah,
it wasn't really canon at this point in time, because this is what November of 2005, and which is props to you for wearing the shirt. For anybody that's unaware, November of 2005 is when Eddie Guerrero passed away, and this is like a week after, I think.
It was like very much like after it happened.
Yeah, which was were you watching wrestling at that time?
Yeah.
Did that hit you at all when Eddie passed away?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because like I didn't watch him in WCW, but even just from his WWF run, WWE, I mean, you could tell. I mean, he was such a presence. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on Eddie Guerrero, but yeah, definitely a sad time for sure.
Yeah, and at first I didn't even realize it was like after it happened until like they opened the show with it and everything. I was like,
yeah,
oh holy shit! It was like right after it happened then.
Right. Yeah. So it's because like it opens up. Like you said, it had like a in memory of Eddie Guerrero thing. It was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to the crowd and everybody's chanting Eddie. Everybody has Eddie signs, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Conan gives a shout out during the show. A couple people do actually, but
yeah, a few people.
Yeah. because I was just thinking of like the people on the show. I guess there's not a ton of people included that like worked with Eddie or were close to him, but there were a few. But yeah, Genesis 05, definitely that's an interesting show for sure. I think there's one thing that people remember about this show, like one thing that stands out at least, which we'll get to.
Okay. I'm curious now, because I went in blind, like not knowing anything about this.
What would you think the most memorable portion of this show was?
Oh, wouldn't it have been Christian?
It's Christian.
I forgot that even happened.
How dare you missed his bootcut jeans and his black Dockers?
Listen, I remember
shaking my camera.
Like, I've seen clips of Christian and TNA. Like, I've never sat down and watched TNA or Impact or anything, but I've seen matches here and there. And I knew Christian at one point was in TNA. I just didn't know I would see his debut in TNA.
Well, we'll get more into it.
We'll get there
when we get to it, but that is how he rolls. Anyways, so the show kicks off. Well, how do you kick off a red hot show with just incredible? And fuck, man. So this first match, so it's Raven versus a mystery opponent, a man from Raven's past, and so the backstory here is that Raven, he was recently the world champion in TNA, but he lost the title in a random ass house show in Canada to Jeff Jarrett. And it was a whole thing. The AMW, we'll see him later in the show, but that's basically when that faction was created. AMW turned heel. It was a whole hullabaloo and shenanigans that happened. So Raven basically got the title stolen from him, and he basically blames championship committee member Larry Zbyszko for losing this title for some reason. I guess he's the authority figure, so it's his fault, which makes sense. That all checks out to me. So there's been a lot of aggression amongst those two, the authority figure and Raven. And it's all kind of led to this, where basically Larry picked an opponent for Raven. But first, before that, he offers him a choice. Larry does. He offers Raven either his release or he's going to make Raven's life a living hell, which is quite the choice. But of course, Raven choose the living hell option. Option B. Yeah, he's Raven. Yeah, quote the Raven. Larry, at some point, because it's like a promo between Larry has like all security surrounding him, and he's basically poking at Raven. He's like, well, I hear your girlfriend makes all your decisions. And it's like, who's his girlfriend? That's the whole thing. Which actually, I forget who it is, but I know this is kind of like planting seeds for his faction that he creates.
Okay.
It's not the Flock, but it is with a different name. So that's basically what that is. But then, so Raven, he chooses to stay, not to take his release. So Larry announces his opponent, Pj Palacco, otherwise known as Just Incredible. So obviously they work together in ECW. And the story that commentary is kind of trying to push forward is that Raven held Just Incredible back in ECW, which I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it is. You an ECW watcher?
No.
You weren't watching ECW as a 2-year-old?
No. If I was, I don't have any memory of it.
You said your parents didn't let you watch Sandmen get crucified, and people rip each other open with shards of glass?
No. If I was on that side of the state, probably, but since I'm on the opposite side.
Yeah, you're so close. You're like what? How far is that? How far is Petey City?
I think Philly's like 5-6 hours away from me.
Oh Jesus, you're like as close as I am to Philly. Never mind then.
Yeah, like New York. New York is like super close to Philly. I realized like later in my life, which is weird.
I have no concept of like how far things are.
Neither do I.
Like Philly is 5 hours away from me, but Pittsburgh is probably like 10 hours, which to me they're like next to each other, so it doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
But so we have this match here, Raven versus Pj Palacco. It's kind of a rough match, honestly. But you get PJ's coming out here. He has really baggy clothes, and I mean, you can never tell how like in shape somebody is when they're bald and they have baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, props to him. But he's coming out here with a kendo stick. He does the whole thing. Cassidy Riley, who's like Raven's minion, comes out during this to try to help him, but he gets a kendo stick to the head by Just Incredible. But ultimately, Raven regains control by this distraction, hits the Raven effect DDT for the win. So Raven wins, and championship committee member Larry Zbyszko is none too pleased with this. A little shot of him frowning. So yeah, what were your thoughts on this barn burner of an opener?
No, I mean, what a way to kick it off. I mean, this versus Dustin Rhodes versus whoever in a moving truck. I mean,
Man,
I don't know. No, I mean the match wasn't bad. I mean it was okay. It was rough.
It was a brawl, I guess. Yeah, I guess. What else do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, if Zbyszko is trying to bring people from Raven's past, then you don't expect it to be like a typical, like, good wrestling match.
Yeah, like somebody who else from ECW? Fucking, I don't know. I'm blanking on ECW people. Hack Myers, right?
Sure.
You're a big Hack Myers fan, right?
Oh, you caught me, Kyle. You caught me.
Man, the next time I bring you on, it's gonna be an ECW show, and you're gonna get to witness the shot
Honestly,
of
you know
ECW.
what? Fine. expose me to the new things / old things that I have never seen.
Yeah, well, it's a common theme that I have to, like, when I give you shows, they have to start with a plotting match and then get to the good stuff. So
yeah, so you better find me a good ECW show then.
Well,
because we're 2 for 2 right now.
You might have to wait a few years then. It's a little. But hey, this show, Genesis. Okay, you had that opener, but now we got some good stuff. Got a hockey stick on a pole match. It is a 6-man hockey stick on a pole match. You can't just have a one-on-one hockey stick on a pole match.
God forbid.
And of course, special guest referee Kip James. What do you think of Kip James in his referee attire?
Why?
Were you? Is it arousal that it emits from you? Is it? No. It's you don't. I mean,
no. Kip James is not my type. So
is Billy Gunn your type?
No.
What about the one Billy Gunn?
Stop.
The New Age Outlaw? What was he in the Smoking Guns? I guess he was still Billy Gunn.
None of the above. No, Billy Gunn in any iteration is not my type. So
you're just full of bad opinions today. So we have the
bold.
It is the 3 Live Crew versus Team Canada. 3 Live Crew, of course, BG James, Conan, and Ron Killings versus A1, Bobby Roode, and Eric Young. So got a few faces that we see today in this match, which is fun. Mm-hmm. So the backstory here, it's this never-ending story. It's more of like an internal struggle within the 3 Live Crew because they were a faction, and then Billy Gunn debuts. So now it's like, hey, Road Dogg, are you with us? Or are you with Billy Gunn? And that they dragged that out for literally a year, which we're still at. It seems like
year?
For the most, it may be like February of 2005. So pretty much too long. But there's like nothing ever happens. It's always the same thing. It's always like, yeah, no, I'm with you, Conan. And Conan's like, what's up, say yo, you ain't with us. You a biatch. That's the gist of it. But so Kip James is the ref, so he's basically here. Essentially, he's going to choose who he's siding with in this match. I guess is the, and then you just add hockey sticks on a pole because they're Canadians that they're facing.
Well, that makes sense.
You got to drive that point home to make sure that the audience knows.
Yeah, come on now, Canadians.
Hockey. Yeah, see, that's what they like. That's what they like. Mm-hmm. It could have been a bag of milk on a pole match too, but maybe that'll be the next pay-per-view. But the match starts. Well, first, Road Dogg does his whole shtick, the New Age Outlaws thing, but with the 3 Live Crew. The 3 Live Crew, that shit. Conan then grabs the mic, then does his shtick. But he also gives a shout out to Eddie, big Eddie Guerrero chants and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. But yeah. So the match, the match itself is here's some spots that stuck out to me. You have Conan putting a shoe on a hockey stick and stabbing people with his shoe.
Yeah.
What else? Eric Young, he decides to put on headgear, which looks like a leather, like a football helmet from the 1850s. And he goes up, he grabs the hockey stick, which, by the way, these hockey sticks are so fucking high up in the air. They're like in the poles.
Like, why are they so high up?
You gotta want it, I guess. You gotta.
That's asinine. There's no reason it should be that high up.
They have to like shimmy up there. They have to like, what do you call it? I don't know. I'm not doing this again. But Eric Young, he grabs a stick. But here's the thing. Eric Young was not legal when he grabbed the stick, so therefore he cannot use the stick because rules.
Because rules, yes.
And Kip James, of course, is the referee. He's here to enforce those rules. So he notes that Eric Young is not legal. So he grabs his hockey stick, snaps it over his knee, and then throws it out. Good thing we got 5 more hockey sticks.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. There's more options.
Thank God. I was getting worried. But Pj James, he's legal, but he's afraid of heights, which I can't blame him because, as we mentioned, they're very high.
They're so high up for no reason.
Unnecessarily high. But R-Truth doesn't care. So he gets tagged in. He just jumps up and grabs it. I don't even think he climbs the ropes. I think he just handsprings up there. And, but he grabs a stick, and then it's just a bunch of nonsense happens. But ultimately, the finish comes when Eric Young, he's on his back. His legs are a spread. BG and Conan are holding hockey sticks on Eric Young's crotch for R-Truth to come from the top rope with a leg drop, landing on Eric Young's gooch with the hockey sticks placed upon them. And that gives 3 Live Crew the win. So, yeah, hockey sticks. Thoughts?
Hockey sticks. What a time. I mean, the match itself wasn't, like, too bad.
No.
Everyone in there, I think I knew everyone besides A1. So, like,
You're not missing anything.
I, like, didn't even bother to look him up. I was like, I don't care.
His Wikipedia
Like,
is very
everyone
short.
else, I've seen, like, wrestle in some capacity before, so I know they're all good. R-Truth, phenomenal.
He's ageless.
Has been, literally. Like,
Yeah.
how old is he?
Yeah, I think he stays 20.
He has to. There's no way.
He's like, I think he's probably like 45, I would guess.
Yeah, how?
Yeah.
I don't understand. He's a time traveler. Or something.
He really is. He's so good.
He's incredible. He was the best part of the entire match, I think.
Yeah.
The hockey sticks gotta go.
You didn't like the hockey sticks?
I would have been fine with the hockey sticks if they weren't so high up in the air. Again, I don't know how many times we have to emphasize this. If they were like, how do you even describe how high they were?
Probably with feet, meters. You could also probably describe them with, what else? Pounds?
Okay.
No, that's weight.
Pounds? That's not correct.
Or currency. But, yeah.
Sure.
So.
They were just too high. If they would have been lowered, I feel like it would have.
You said too high.
God damn it.
Cheap it up.
Oh, God.
You were saying?
If they weren't as high, then I feel like it would have been better. Because people were struggling to get those damn hockey sticks.
Yeah, the match is more hockey sticks versus everybody else than the 2 teams.
Literally, though. I mean, yeah, it was a good match. It wasn't bad. I think the video package did a better job of the match than itself. But
yeah, their video packages have gotten better over the years. They used to be very
from the video package I saw on this pay-per-view, they were pretty good.
Yeah, they at least because they used to be just like PowerPoint, Microsoft's like Word media player, like somebody amateur just whipped up something with word art, just names. But they're getting better. They're improving. But yeah, like you said, pretty good match. But at the end, Conan and Kip James fist bump, which is a pretty big moment because they had been at odds for
Huge moment.
very long. Yeah, I know you. I'm sure when you were watching this, you're like, wow, I need to go walk away for a second and absorb this.
I needed a minute. Had to go take a drink.
Okay.
It's terrible.
I don't appreciate your sarcastic tone. But to more serious matters, James Mitchell has an egg. So Shane Douglas, the interviewer, do you have a problem? Is there an issue?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, just want to make sure. I want to make sure you weren't laughing at the very demonic presence of Abyss.
No, I just have something stuck in my throat.
That's good. So yeah, Shane Douglas is backstage. He's interviewing Abyss and James Mitchell. Well, he's interviewing James Mitchell because Abyss is a mute. So James Mitchell's talking, and he's basically it's a build up to the match later in the show. It's a hardcore match between Abyss and Sabu, and they're basically building this up. Sabu, he's been using a lot of barbed wire in his arsenal. He basically like wrapped barbed wire around his forearm and attack Abyss with it. And this, according to James Mitchell, has unearthed a phobia that Abyss used to have that he worked through, but now it's back. And now he's just he brought down his barriers, and now those barriers are up. Abyss. So it's a barbed wire phobia that Abyss seemingly has. But Sabu is taking advantage of that, and they are not too pleased about it. So Sabu will suffer, I guess. And now I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, it's an okay promo, but I'm having a hard time visualizing what this is going to look like in the wrestling arena. But don't worry, because James Mitchell has an egg. I don't have an egg, but imagine I had one. It represents Sabu's head. And Abyss takes this egg and smashes it. And that's what's going to happen to Sabu's head. Do you like the visual aid that Jimmy Mitchell brought into this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a visual type of guy, so I need to see it.
How do you like your eggs?
Scrambled.
Me too. So this next match...
Perfect segue.
Well, speaking of eggs, mine were fertilized from this next segment. So we got Mike Tenay and Don West. They're running down the card. Which, by the way, what are your thoughts on? Because you said this is your first, this is like your introduction to TNA. What did you think of Mike Tenay and Don West on commentary?
They weren't bad. I had no issue with it.
I always loved them. I thought they were very. It felt like they were a part of the product. If that makes sense. They didn't feel like they were just brought in to like do a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they definitely like felt right for this.
Yeah, for sure. So they're running down the rest of the card, and then it cuts to backstage to somebody's feet. The aforementioned bootcut jeans and black dress shoes of some sort, walking into a hallway and turning into the tunnel, I guess. And this is building up to the new major talent acquisition that TNA has just acquired. And it's been a whole, the rumors are swirling. Who's it going to be? Then it cuts to the Impact Zone. Music starts, but nobody knows who it is because it's their debut.
Yeah.
But it's the same music that we saw, was it earlier this year or last year when Christian Cage debuted. Which is so you knew Christian was in TNA. What did you think when you saw him come out here as his debut?
What is the outfit choice? I get it, 2005,
Yeah.
but what the fuck?
No, this is kind of how I dressed in 2005 too, so I can't really.
I can see it. I can see you dressing like this too.
I wore a lot of jeans and dark shoes and bad button-ups, so hairstyle was pretty similar. Yeah. But so Christian comes out, he cuts a whole promo deal. It's his introduction to TNA. And as I was like watching this and listening to him talk, it's funny how similar the TNA and WWE dynamic is to the current day AEW WWE dynamic. Because Christian's out here, he's talking like, oh, I came here because I'm a wrestler and I like real pro wrestling, which is like,
Nope.
Never goes out of style, I guess.
Why would it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
I guess. Yeah. But yeah, this is a big moment for TNA because TNA, they had names come in, like Jeff Hardy's there, the Dudleys. But Christian, to me, was like the first big one because he had so much momentum at this point in WWE because he's literally coming off of main eventing a pay-per-view in WWE like the month previous to this for the WWE title. Okay. And so he had all that momentum, and now he's in TNA. Because like the Dudleys are there, but they kind of like petered out in WWE for their like nameless henchmen for a while. Jeff Hardy was in a weird spot, but Christian was like, okay, this guy's a star, and this would like snowball to like Sting, I think, comes in a month or two, and then you got like Kurt Angle like a year from now. So
yeah.
So it's a big moment for TNA. Christian, like I said, he's out there saying that he's here because he doesn't want to see a grown man dressed as a doctor pulling things out of another man's ass, which is a thing that happened on Raw. But in case you weren't clear. But
no, I put two and two together.
He makes it clear that he wasn't fired. He just decided to not take the contract that WWE offered him. He says he was offered a hefty sum, but he said he's in TNA because he wants to be a part of something. He wants to be a part of wrestling being reinvented, which is what he thinks TNA is at this point. And he compares it to like back in the mid 90s or late 90s, you had WCW and WWF, where WCW was like full of old, tired wrestlers, and then WWF was this like new, vibrant company. Yeah. And now he's basically saying that that's shifted to WWE and TNA, where WWE is the old company and TNA is the new, vibrant company, which is it's fun. You know, it's a fun little thing.
It's fun. It's a fun time. We're having fun here.
Aren't we all having fun, gang? But Christian then calls out. He sees the bashing of WWE is finally over, and now he calls out Jeff Jarrett. Basically, he says he's here to take the NWA World Title because that's how he rolls. I forgot that was his catchphrase. You should bring it back.
No.
Okay. Well. But and this brings out Scott D'Amore, who which by the way, have you watched any recent Impact?
No.
How dare you, first of all?
Listen, first of all, nobody watches Impact now.
Okay, it's got a buzz. It's buzzing like a bumblebee.
I understand that. And I've watched some of the women's matches because women's wrestling. Mm-hmm. But it's not something I like religiously watch.
We should start. Okay.
I don't have time.
You should watch it while you're doing the ShElite Showcase.
No.
It's funny how there's like wrestling on every day of the week, and Thursday is like, oh, okay, it's just Impact. Nobody watches Impact, and people start watching Impact. You're like, God damn it.
Honestly, people were watching it last week. I was like, why the fuck?
Yeah,
guys, come on now. But it was banger main events. Like, I understand why people did.
They got some good stuff, but I bring that up because Scott D'Amore is still with Impact, and he's like the authority figure. Well, he's the like real life authority. But here in 2005, he was just a shitty manager for Team Canada. Shitty as in like he's a shithead. Comes out with Bobby Roode. So we got Scott D'Amore and Bobby Roode coming out to confront Christian. Christian being a Canadian, so it's like, oh, well, he's going to join Team Canada. It all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
Don West says that Scott D'Amore has a shit-eating grin. Look at that thing, which is fun. It's a fun little line by Don West. But Scott's basically like, hey, Christian, you shouldn't be going for that title. You should align yourself with people of political power because at this point, Team Canada and Jeff Jarrett are basically a faction. So he's like, hey, don't go for our leader. Just join us because you're Canadian. Hockey. So
hockey.
And there's a little sexual tension between Bobby Roode and Christian. Because Christian at first he's like, I don't think so. And Bobby's like, is this not a question, Christian? Do you understand what you were just offered? Scott D'Amore gives Christian a Team Canada shirt. Christian says, looks like it's the right size, but I'm not sure if it's the right fit. Yeah. Do you get it?
I get it.
Yeah, well, do you have any other thoughts on this little promo segment?
Actually, I did have a question. So the NWA title, right?
Yeah.
So does TNA at this time not have like their own title?
No,
Okay.
that'll be like another year or so, I think, maybe a little more than that. Because when they were formed, it was NWA TNA. It was like TNA was kind of like a subset of NWA, I guess. So they basically just carried forward the NWA title, the tag team titles, and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's only a matter of time before. Yeah, like I said, it's like another year or so.
Okay. I was just curious because I was like, I didn't hear them mention at all like a TNA world title or anything.
Yeah,
So,
I mean they have the X
it makes
Division
sense.
title, but
Well, as they should.
as they should.
It's the best division.
Yes, and we'll get to that soon, which is probably my highlights of the show.
Oh, for sure.
But before that, the NWA World Heavyweight Title #1 contendership match: Monty Brown versus Jeff Hardy. Is this your introduction? I guess it would be your introduction to Monty Brown.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Love him.
He's great, right?
He's great. I mean, you and Young Kings were talking about him like when you had them on. And I was like, oh, well, since I'm doing a TNA pay-per-view, because I think I decided by then, I was like, I can see what this is all about. He's great. Hell of a guy. Hell of a competitor.
Yeah. I mean, the match itself is okay. Like, I wouldn't say it's anything that would, like, it wouldn't be on a best of DVD for Monty Brown or anything, but, like, you got to see a promo, which is probably the most important part. The, how did that go again? You remember.
I don't.
It was like, I don't know, he just made a lot of noises. It was like, he sniffs the microphone. He goes,
alpha male type
shit.
shit.
Huh? Something like that, right?
Spot on.
Yeah. But Monty Brown, before the match, he's cutting a promo because this is after Christian arrived. So he's like, no one's leapfrogging me. I've been here since day one. Not Christian and not Jeff Hardy, who he's about to face. Monty Brown says he's going big game hunting, which is fun because he's in the Serengeti. That's where he's from. This is his hometown, the Serengeti.
Mm-hmm.
And so the match. So first of all, Jeff Hardy comes out. I don't know what kind of drugs Jeff Hardy was on this match, but
dude, crawling out to the right. That was
it was a choice.
A terrible choice.
He had like the face paint. This is when he just dumps a bucket of paint on him and goes out to the ring. Like you said, crawling out there like a zombie. That meth's gonna meth. But but that being said, Monty Brown and Jeff Hardy are like legitimately two of my all-time favorites. But that being said, the match was what it was. The finish comes when Jeff goes for a swanton but misses, and Monty Brown hits the pounce for the win. So Monty wins, and I couldn't tell if it was a #1 contendership match or if it's just to see who moves up in the rankings. But but Monty moves up in the rankings, whatever that means.
Listen, rankings aren't real. They don't do anything.
No, it's the rankings. No, you have 1 through however.
But do people really abide by those?
Don West and Mike Tenay do.
They're the only two.
Okay. Well,
they're the only two.
Do you have any other thoughts on this match?
No, I mean it did what it had to do. It put Monty Brown over and put him higher in the rankings or made him #1 contender or whatever the actual stipulation of this match was. Just said contenders match. I was like, okay.
What number?
What does it mean?
Is it number 5 contenders? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how much longer Jeff Hardy's in TNA. I don't think it's much longer because I think
So he only has 1 run in TNA, right?
No, he actually. So he leaves.
Okay.
I want to say maybe like early 2006. Then he has a little run in WWE, and then he leaves WWE in like 2009 or something. And then he has another run in TNA. That's when he has like the whole like heel run as champion in TNA.
Is that the Sting incident?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you
Yeah.
said Sting was like joining shortly, so I didn't know if that was like the time
Right.
frame when that happened, or was that later?
Yeah, that's like 2011 when that happens.
Jesus.
So yeah, he had because he was in WWE for a while. That's when he like won the WWE title and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then he left and went to TNA and had a pretty significant run there. And then because then there was the whole like broken Matt Hardy stuff. How long was he in TNA? God damn. Must have been forever.
I don't know. This is why I asked you. You're supposed to be the TNA expert here, Kyle.
Because that was like 5 years ago when he was in TNA or something. I don't know. Man, time flies. Time flies when you're having fun.
I knew you were gonna say that.
But man, so now we have the match that I was probably looking forward to the most, just like looking at the names in this match. Mm-hmm. It is a elimination 8-man tag match. It's an X Division match. So we have the team of Alex Shelley, Christopher Daniels, Roderick Strong, and Samoa Joe versus the team of Austin Aries, Chris Saban, Matt Bentley, and Sanjay Dutt. When you like see that collection of names, like what comes to mind for you?
I mean, even though they're on opposite teams, I think of Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes,
Shelley and
thank you.
Saban.
Yeah.
See, I know a little bit.
Look at you. You're a TNAer. TN asshole, I think they're called.
I don't want to be a TN asshole. No, thank you.
Okay, well, that's you. That's on you. But yeah, we got Roderick Strong, who's still very relevant today. Samoa Joe as well, even though he's whatever, who knows where he's going.
Back to Impact.
Yeah, dude, I mean,
maybe.
I mean, by the time this comes out,
probably won't be X Division anymore, but like maybe.
It's not about weight limits; it's about no limits.
Well, I know, but I feel like he's like more mainstream now, so I feel like he'd be going.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's possible.
Observations.
But Chris Saban, who literally just wrestled for Impact, like as of recording this, it was like a week ago. He was wrestling for Impact.
Yeah.
You got Alex Shelley still wrestling around in the Indies. Christopher Daniels backstage, mainly at AEW. So you got a lot of good talent that's still relevant today. Mm-hmm. Notice I didn't mention Austin Aries, but so Daniels is like a little backstage thing with his team, and he's calling his group the Ministry. Which do you remember, or maybe you weren't watching, but maybe you've heard after the fact, when how Christopher Daniels, he was allegedly supposed to be in the Ministry in WWF. Yeah. He was supposed to be the higher power, but apparently he was too short, so they decided to make it Vince McMahon instead.
Logical.
Yeah, very logical. So I didn't know if that was like a direct like shot at them.
That's what I immediately thought of when he said that. I was like, really?
But it kind of plays into his character.
It does.
Which leads me to think, is that why that's his character? Because of that rejection? I don't know when his fallen angel thing started, but that's actually something I didn't think about till just now.
You're welcome.
Thanks. But he's calling his group the Ministry. And the story here is basically Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, who are on the same team, but it's basically a power struggle of like who's the real leader of the team. But they're able to like ignore that during the match itself. But after the match, I say it boils over a little bit. Just a little. But my main takeaway with this match probably is that Samoa Joe was a monster in 2005.
Jesus, wrecked everybody.
Yeah.
He's like scary fast.
Yeah. No, he's fast, he's strong, he's stiff. Interject your jokes here. But pause. Samoa Joe, but yeah, he's looking really good. This is like his peak, I would say, physically. Just he hits like a claymore kick on somebody that knocks their britches off. But so it's an elimination match. So these are basically the eliminations. So Austin Aries hits a brainbuster, followed by a 450 onto Roderick Strong to eliminate him. Daniels then right away rolls up Austin Aries to eliminate Aries. So now we're at 3-3. Alex Shelley submits Sanjay Dutt with a crossface. Matt Bentley then eliminates Shelley with a super kick, which, by the way, before we go any further, are you a fan of Matt Bentley?
I never heard of him until this.
Do you know who his cousin is?
No.
It's Shawn Michaels.
Wait, actually?
Yes, actually. That's why he does a super kick and the elbow.
Oh.
But that's his whole...
That's his gimmick.
I'm spreading the word.
Cousin.
I'm spreading the word of Matt Bentley to everybody that comes on here because he's a phenomenon.
Okay.
Yeah. You say he didn't stick out to you? The
No.
heartbreak cousin?
No.
That's a shame. Poor
Can't
Matt
say
Bentley.
that. Sorry.
So Matt Bentley eliminates Alex Shelley with a super kick, which brings it to 2-2 or something. I don't know. Chris Saban. We were talking about Samoa Joe being so good. So is Chris Saban, by the way, and he was probably the other one that stuck out, especially because he's still going today and he's still really good. But he was just so like explosive in this match, like that hesitation drop kick he did, where he like levitates in the air and just kicks his opponent in the corner is just insane. We got Daniels in there, a rare best moonsault ever botch because he like kind of overshot him. But Matt Bentley hits a super kick to Samoa Joe. He then goes for a victory roll on Daniels. So Matt Bentley hops on Daniels' shoulders, but Daniels like basically gives him to Samoa Joe, who then hits the muscle buster and the coquina clutch for the tap out. So now it's Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels versus Chris Saban. Joe's going for a muscle buster on Chris Saban, but Matt Bentley pulls Joe's feet, which makes him lose control, and he pulls him to the outside. And this allows Christopher Daniels to hit the Angel's wings onto Chris Saban for the win. So Daniels gets the win for his team. But Joe is not too happy about this because he wanted to get the final win. But I guess, there's a hullabaloo after the match. But as far as the match itself, what do you think of it?
Incredible. I mean, X Division guys, fast as hell, strong as hell.
Yeah.
Delivered. I really was just like waiting to see like Shelley and Saban in the ring together, because obviously I've seen them teaming, but I've never seen them one-on-one. So I was like waiting for that to happen. Obviously incredible. And Roderick Strong, I completely forgot was in TNA.
If you blinked, you would have missed it.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, he was. This is the point where like TNA and Ring of Honor like traded wrestlers basically, but ultimately they would get to a point where it's like, you're either here or there. So, but it was like right before that. So,
I mean, amazing match. Probably, maybe my match of the night.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would allow that. But yeah, I'm watching this match, and I don't know, maybe it's the nostalgia of it. I mean, we tend to like watch older wrestling with rose-covered glasses or whatever the phrase is, but I'm watching this. It just feels like it doesn't look as choreographed as like a lot of modern wrestling does. Like I think of like AEW, and I feel like how spots are often very like telegraphed, and you have like people
waiting
for spot. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't see any of that in this match. Everything just seemed to be so smooth and seamless.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and the fact that it's so fast.
Yes.
Like, their movements were so fluid, and you don't really see that a whole lot in, like, wrestling now. So, I was all about this match. Yeah,
for sure. And maybe a part of that is the 6-sided ring. I don't know, maybe if you can spring off the ropes faster.
I kind of fuck with the 6-sided ring. I'm not gonna lie.
It's something. Yeah, I mean...
It's cool.
Wrestlers, yeah. I guess, I don't know. Wrestlers say that it's more like, there's more tension, so it's like it's harder to take bumps on, and maybe, I don't know, there's other issues with it, but as a viewer, I fucks with it.
Aesthetically, it's pleasing.
I'm known as a hexagon kind of guy, so...
Oh. I can sense that about you,
That I'm a 6-sided boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite shape?
Fuck, I don't know.
I'll wait.
Oh, please don't.
Hold on. I gotta go to my... where's the drum roll? All right, hold on. What's your favorite shape? Oh shit, that's not a drum roll. It's a joke. Hold on, I gotta find it.
I was gonna say, I
What's
didn't
your?
hear anything.
You didn't hear it? Hold on.
No.
Fuck, Cox. Here. I'm gonna hold on. Okay, live. Here we go. I never use this. All right, we'll edit this in post.
Okay, I can't wait.
Hey, Catherine, what's your favorite
Ew.
shape?
First of all, you're not gonna call me Catherine.
Kate or Tot, what's your favorite shape?
A circle.
God, that's a 40-second sound. Jesus. All right.
That
Well,
clapping
it's a
lasted so
circle.
long.
Well,
I don't know. Like a ring. First thing that popped up.
all right. You don't like corners, I guess.
No.
But I'll tell you who did like corners. Cutting corners. Samoa Joe. That didn't really make any sense, but
No, you did great. You did great.
so the match happens. We got Daniels and Joey Samoa. They're the winners of the match. And but Joe he's very like, hey, brother, I wanted to, or he doesn't talk like that, but he's like, yo, I wanted to win the match. So, but they fist bump and it's all good, it's all dandy. But then bam, Joe attacks Daniels, gives him a big boot, like a really brutal kick to the face. Then he grabs a chair and hits Daniels with it. So much blood. Hits a muscle buster. Security comes out to try to tame Samoa Joe, but just like Miley Cyrus, he cannot be tamed. Samoa Joe then hits a second muscle buster, this time onto the chair. He's the visual of Daniels. He just has blood all over his face. It's all over the mat. He's on the chair. Joe finally leaves, and then AJ from the opposite tunnel. So Joe goes in one tunnel. AJ comes out the other tunnel. He comes out showing concern for Daniels, which is very significant because AJ and Daniels had been feuding for quite some time. A pretty, very like a big time feud between those two. So this shows how dastardly that Samoa Joe is. I would say, like, outside of Christian debuting, this is probably the most significant, like, memorable part of the show, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, Samoa Joe almost killed Christopher Daniels.
Man, almost. You can't kill
Close.
a fallen angel, though. Because he's already dead. He's an angel.
I've heard that. Yeah, you can't. It's just illogical.
That's what they say. Including Planet Jarrett, who are backstage with Shane Douglas. So we got Jeff Jarrett and AMW, who are two TNA originals. Been there since day one. And for months and months, Jeff Jarrett's been running around like, hey, goddamn, these new guys are going to keep getting signed, and the originals are going to get pushed out. And Memphis. So this is basically what's happening. Christian has debuted, and now he thinks that, now the originals are going to start to fade away and get released or whatever. But it's okay because they are the champs. So Jeff Jarrett is the world champ. AMW are the tag team champs. That's kind of their motivation for holding those titles, I guess. But after that, we have as if that blood wasn't enough to quench your thirst, we have a hardcore match between Sabu and Abyss. Remember the egg from before. That's what's going to happen to Sabu's head.
Yes.
Yes. And Sabu comes out. He basically, because he has his, is it a turban? Is that what it is? I don't want people yelling at me, but I think it's a turban.
That's considered.
A headgear of some sort.
A headpiece of sorts.
There it is. We workshopped it. But he has it over his head, but it's also covering part of his arm. And Abyss thinks it is the barbed wire because that's what Sabu did, like on Impact or something. He had barbed wire on his arm, and Abyss is like, because he's scared of barbed wire. But Sabu takes it off, and there's nothing. So he's just playing mind games with Abyss. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this match. Did any particular spots stick out to you amongst all of this carnage?
I mean, not really. It kind of just reminded me of just like I've seen Sabu live before, So I kind of knew what to expect from this. Just a hardcore ass match. Sabu jumping off everything he can, going through whatever thumbtacks. Of course.
Of course.
Gotta be thumbtacks. It's not a hardcore match if there's no thumbtacks, right?
No, it'd be a softcore. Right?
Yeah. You're 100% correct.
If a match isn't hardcore, is it softcore? So, like, I don't know, like, Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair, was that a softcore match?
I mean, if you look at it like that, yes.
Yeah. Shit, stop. Okay. I don't know how to control this thing.
Too much clapping.
But these two were certainly clapping back at each other in this hardcore match. So, like you said, it's Sabu versus Abyss. You kind of know what to expect. You got Sabu tossing chairs at Abyss. Sabu hitting the triple jump moonsault onto Abyss. His knee, by the way, landed right on Abyss's face. Hopefully that mask is thick because that looked brutal. Yeah. Hopefully that's a Carmella mask so it protects Abyss. What happens here? So Sabu goes to toss a chair at Abyss's head from the ring to the floor where Abyss is standing, but Abyss gets out of the way. He moves towards the table, but Sabu audibles and just does a flipping leg drop from the ring through the table through Abyss, which looked pretty sweet.
That was probably the coolest spot.
Yeah, it was super smooth. This era of Sabu, I feel like is kind of slept on. I feel like he's pretty smooth in his TNA matches. People think of him botching and whatever, which he does a fair amount of that. But his TNA run is very good.
Good job, Sabu.
Oh, Sabu. Oh, Savvy. But thumbtacks, of course, get pulled out at some point. Abyss lays him out on the mat. But as he's doing this, Sabu pulls out a barbed wire chair. A chair wrapped in barbed wire. So he brings it into the ring. He goes to hit Abyss with it, but James Mitchell uses his cane to stop Sabu from swinging it, which is fun. I love that. I love, James Mitchell is there to serve a purpose, which I like that about that. Abyss eventually hits a spinning choke slam onto Sabu through the tacks, which he didn't just drop him into the tack. He slammed that motherfucker right into those tacks. But I guess how else are you going to take a tack bump?
Honestly, there's no easy way to do it. You go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. But that only gets a 2 count, amazingly. So Abyss goes to hit a splash onto Sabu from the second rope, but he misses the splash and goes into the tacks himself. So everybody's just a pincushion out there. But ultimately, Abyss hits the black hole slam onto the barbed wire chair for the win. So yeah, lots of violence.
Yeah.
Would you rather take a bump into tacks or get slammed onto a barbed wire chair?
I don't know. I feel like barbed wire is a lot people get straight up stuck in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like thumbtacks you kind of just if you can reach them, pull them out fast.
I feel like thumbtacks are kind of annoying.
Yeah, not all of them are going to be face up.
But then you have to walk around. You think you got all of them out, but then you're in the shower. You're oh god damn it, there's one in my asshole still.
I mean, it's just like sand at the beach,
It's exactly like sand at the beach. When you put it that way,
you think
it really
you
makes
got
sense.
it all off you, and then you go shower, and you're like, "Where? How is there more?"
What in tarnation? Yeah, I know. Now I'm with you.
What in tarnation?
But fun match between Abyss and Sabu. A little change of pace though. With this next match, we got the X Division title on the line. The champion, AJ Styles versus Petey Williams. Ooh, a young, fresh AJ Styles. What'd you think of?
Little baby AJ.
Puka shells and all.
Fucking puka shells. Why puka? Why was that even a thing?
It was cool. 2005.
You definitely wore puka shells.
I think I tried them once. I think one of my school pictures, I'm wearing puka shells.
As I say, you bootcut jeans, the black shoes, the shitty button ups, the puka shells. You had it all in one outfit.
I also had blonde highlights at a certain point, which I think coincides. I think it was the same time I had the puka shell necklace. So that was.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
The freaking frosted tips.
I loved NSYNC. What can I say?
You clearly did.
But I said bye to that after a while. So
nice one.
And I was like, that's not gonna be me, you know. Fuck. What other songs are there?
You're doing great. Keep
Pop.
going.
Anyways,
Just scream pop.
yeah, figured just throw that in there. But I popped when I was watching this match. AJ Styles versus Petey Williams. My main takeaway here was that AJ's ass takes a pounding in this match. Does it not?
Why is that your only takeaway from this?
Look, this dude went for a flipping tope. So Petey's on the outside, AJ's in the ring. He does a flip over the top rope. This dude's too athletic, so he goes into the crowd, but he lands on the steel barricade, asshole first. And then they're like, well, okay, maybe they'll take it easy the rest of the match. But no. They do a spot where Petey Williams German suplexes AJ Styles from the apron onto the barricade, which you're picturing that in your head. You're like, man, they probably did that in a safe kind of way. Nope. AJ just goes flying again, asshole first into the barricade. He was sitting on a donut after this match. That's all I gotta say.
Didn't he? It looked like he fucked up his arm on that spot.
He probably did. He's probably more focused on his
like the
asshole.
way he landed, it looked like his arm was like smashed against the barricade. I don't know. It looked painful as hell. I mean,
there's no good way to take that kind of bump.
Well, especially because they're fucking bicycle racks.
You don't think they were effective barricades?
No.
They just...
No, those aren't good barricades.
They're in Orlando. They probably just went to the Space Mountain and they're like, hey, can I have these?
Like, can we have a few of those, please?
Just a few.
I mean, AEW does the same fucking thing. Like, you guys need actual barricades.
Yeah, that was rough. But yeah, that kind of shifts the tone of the match. So the match isn't as fast paced as you might expect, but I think you kind of got that in that eight man earlier. So this is kind of a different kind of match, which I do like how they structured it that way. But AJ takes that big bump on the barricade, so Petey has control most of the match, as he should. Like, how is AJ going to come back from that?
Yeah.
But a Pele kick turns the tide for a little bit, and towards the end, they're countering each other's finishers. So AJ's going for the Styles Clash, Petey's going for the Canadian Destroyer, counter, because they faced each other a bunch in the past year or two, so they're playing off of that as well. But at some point, Samoa Joe comes back out with his trademark towel around his neck, but it has Christopher Daniels' blood all over it. And this distracts AJ for a bit because AJ's on the top rope and he sees this. And he's like, what in tarnation? What is this? And then Petey takes advantage. He's going to superplex AJ, but AJ hits a Styles Clash from the second rope for the win. So AJ retains the belt. And there's a little stare down between AJ and Joe. So we got that coming in the future, which I'm sure will be quite the banger, as the kids say. So, yeah, a great match. Great match.
Oh, my God. AJ still to this day is putting on bangers. So seeing him in 2005 and he's...
Yeah.
How? It's same with R-Truth. They just continue to get better.
Yeah.
And they don't, I mean, AJ obviously ages because he looks like an actual child here, but he looks like a child, and then the mom of that child now.
Yeah. Yeah, AJ never really figured out his look, I don't think, but
No.
I mean, it was cool at the time.
Yeah, I mean, poop shells.
I mean, I probably thought it was cool.
Just you.
Yeah, just me. But so yeah, AJ's every time I watch him, it's like he might be the best of all time. Like, given just how long he's been doing it, I mean, in the ring at least, is how he's evolved over time.
Yeah, and the moves he was doing back then, and he can pull out every once in a while now and still do, bonkers.
Yeah, he's gotten better at promos today. So it's like as he like gets older, he gets better at the talking aspect of it. So yeah he's so good. So
good job, AJ.
But man, the main event is quite the thing that happened. So it's a 6-man tag match. No titles are on the line because it's not about titles. No. What's it about? Hold on. What's it about? Revenge.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish there was a boo. Hold on. Pause.
Are you gonna look one up?
Is there no boo? All right. I'll have to add that later. So.
You're ridiculous. I love it.
But so we got Rhino and Team 3D, aka the Dudley Boys, versus America's Most Wanted and Jeff Jarrett, accompanied by Gail Kim, which is a fun little thing. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot that happens here. What were your overall thoughts of this main event?
I mean, very reminiscent of WCW whatever the fuck we watched.
Uncensored, I think it was.
Uncensored from 95. It was just like no rules all over the damn place. One thing I remember, and I don't know why, Rhino falling down the stairs. Falling down the bleachers.
Yeah.
I was in shock that happened. It was very entertaining. And the I wish they would have like used it, having the table like in front of the tunnel and having that shot so somebody went through the table.
Yeah.
Like Rhino was trying to gore.
Did nobody end up going through that table?
No.
God damn it.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would have been a perfect spot to do, because then you could have had the angle from them running and then the aftermath of them falling down the tunnel.
Yeah.
I got excited and then disappointed when it didn't happen. So fuck you, TNA.
Well, you didn't have that, but you had a cheese grater.
Yeah, what is... I don't even know anymore.
So to just set the scene here. So we got the aforementioned, so what they call the, what do they call it? Controversy in Canada, I think they call it, was when Jarrett won the title from Raven that we talked about previously. And with the help of AMW, so they've created that kind of faction along with Team Canada. But they're facing off against Rhino and Team 3D. Rhino, who actually won the title at Bound for Glory, the previous pay-per-view, but on an Impact in between the two pay-per-views, Jeff Jarrett was able to reclaim it with the help of AMW. And then you also have Team 3D, who recently debuted in TNA, but pretty much right away, they were like destroyed by AMW, laid bloody in the ring. And then they had like a fake funeral for Team 3D where that's quite the segment if you've never seen that.
I mean, what a time.
You have like James Storm pissing in one of the caskets. Team Canada's there with their hockey sticks. They're making quite the mockery of the Dudleys, which I don't take too kindly to.
No.
Well, that's basically the backstory. So they're looking for revenge on Jarrett and AMW for that. So the heels come in, and then Rhino and Team 3D enter, and then Jarrett, Chris Harris, James Storm, they all scurry into the crowd, like in all different parts of the crowd and in the Impact Zone. And then they basically just pair off. So you got like James Storm and Bubba Ray fighting, you got Devon and Chris Harris fighting, and then you got Jeff Jarrett and Rhino fighting. So it's like 3 different matches happening. So
it all makes sense, yeah.
It's so much chaos. Like you got
much.
But yeah, the spot with the bleachers is probably my favorite. It was Jarrett and Rhino are fighting. I think it's where the Spanish commentary was, which is like kind of up high on the bleachers. They're fighting on top of the table. Jarrett hits a low blow to Rhino, and then Rhino just tumbles down the bleachers like a goofy asshole. Just
it reminded me of like when Arn fell in AEW. Oh, like I shouldn't have laughed, but I was in tears laughing when that happened. Both times. For all the things. All falling. People falling down is funny.
It's always funny. Always funny.
Always funny.
Then you have Bubba. Has a cheese grater. He grates James Storm's head with it. This is after James Storm, by the way, takes a beer bottle and throws it at Bubba. Like, not like a...
No, he like full on yeets it at him.
Yes, that's how I describe it. Quite the yeet. But Harris then gets the cheese grater and grates Bubba's testicles with it. What else? What else happens here? Rhino hits a pile driver onto Jeff Jarrett on the stage, which looked pretty brutal. And like you said, they set up a table like up against the tunnel. Mm-hmm. If anybody remembers that when Rhino gored Chris Jericho through the SmackDown set, it was basically that, but through a table. But never happens. They tease it, but Jarrett, or what happens? Rhino's going to gore Jarrett, but James Storm super kicks Rhino to save. Then everyone eventually gets kind of by the ring. Everyone's hitting their finishers. Rhino hits a gore to Jeff Jarrett, has him pinned, but Chris Jarrett pulls the ref out. But then Team 3D ultimately hits the 3D onto Chris Harris for the win. But then Jarrett, or I guess there's some aftermath that happens. But yeah, any other thoughts, nuggets on the match itself?
I mean, it did what it had to do.
Yeah.
Because kind of the same way with like Raven and Just Incredible. Mm-hmm. Or whatever, the Pj Palacco, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
It was a brawl. Like, you don't expect it to be like a normal kind of match.
Right.
Like, you don't expect it to be like AJ versus Petey. No, you expect this to be like blood, carnage, all hell breaking loose. And that's basically what they did. So, I mean, the match did the job. Mm-hmm. The spots were fun. Still wish I got the table spot through the tunnel. A little bitter about it, but you know.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Because it would have been such a good shot. Thinking about it from like a cinematic perspective, that shot would have been incredible.
I wonder if they do that eventually. If they do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please keep me updated if that happens. Somebody going through a table through that tunnel.
That's got to happen at least once.
It has to, right?
But yeah, like you said, it's very like WCW, very Attitude Era, kind of like what you would see in the main events with like Stone Cold and whoever. But it's, you know, in the context of the card, like you have AJ and PD, you have the X Division 8-man for like your work rate, fast paced, and then you have like the hardcore match, and then you have, you know, this. So they're giving you a little bit of everything, which I appreciate. But so the Rhino and Team 3D, they win. But then Jarrett is in the ring with a guitar, hits Rhino in the head with a guitar as they're celebrating. That damn Double J. Team 3D goes to hit the 3D on the Jeff Jarrett, but Gail Kim's in the ring now and hits a low blow to defend against it. Then they basically Team 3D they recharge, I guess, and then they set up a table. They put Jarrett on the table. And then they go to powerbomb Gail Kim through Jarrett, through the table. But out comes Team Canada, as if there weren't enough bodies in the ring at this point.
Jesus.
So Team Canada's in. They basically take out the Dudleys and Rhino. And then out comes Christian Cage, now wearing his ring jacket, which is not suspicious at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Glittery Captain Charisma jacket and a steel chair. He unzips the jacket. By God, it's Team Canada. Christian.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Oh, say it ain't so. Christian Cage is a part of Team Canada.
Those damn Canadians.
Those damn Canadians will get you every time. So him and Christian and Scott D'Amore hug. Everybody's celebrating. Bobby Roode's is just all jolly over there. But that damn Christian, he hoodwinked Scott D'Amore, hits him with the unprettier after their hug. He basically transitions from a hug into an unprettier, hits it, and the 3D to somebody, Scott D'Amore. Did they hit the 3D on Scott D'Amore?
I don't think they hit it on Scott D'Amore.
They hit it on somebody. Maybe Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
They do.
I think Jarrett.
Yeah, the Dudleys basically lift Jarrett up, and Christian hits the neckbreaker portion of it onto Jarrett through the table, which is a beautiful way to end the show because you have your debut of Christian, but you also have Team 3D and Rhino standing tall. And then I guess building towards Christian versus Jarrett. But yeah, fun way to end the show, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that transition from a hug to the Unprettier, good job.
Yeah. Are you going to like hug somebody now and expect to go face planting into the ground?
I don't hug many people, but the people I do hug, I would not do that to.
Yeah, people suck. I agree.
But TNA, there's a few people I would like to do that to, but
give them an unprettier.
Yeah,
that's a very specific way you want to attack somebody. But
I mean, that's how we're talking right now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's gonna be fresh in your mind next time you get in a fight.
I've never been in a fight.
Well, that's what somebody who's about to get in a fight would say.
I really wanted to in high school. I never did.
It's never too late.
Damn
it's never too late.
Go back to high school, fight somebody. That's against the law. Can't do that.
Okay, you don't have to fight like a high school person. You can fight anybody.
I could.
You could fight. You know. Give me a second. I mean, you could always, well, you could always create Genesis. You could always Genesis. Is Genesis a verb? Generate. Is Genesis based on generate? You could always Genesis a fight in your head whenever you feel appropriate. But speaking of Genesis, what Genesis TNA Total Nonstop Action Genesis 2005. Yeah, a fun show to watch for sure. Do you have any other like overall thoughts on the show?
I mean, it was a good balance of everything. You kind of like brought it up. Like you had your hardcore match, your banger matches, like the 8-man tag, AJ and PD, and then you just kind of had like your matches that were kind of there, like Raven and Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Abyss and Sabu was the thing that happened. Like they did what they had to do, and like Monty Brown and Jeff Hardy, like there were stakes. What were the stakes? But it was just a normal match. So this was a good card, honestly, and I'm happy I got to watch it. So thank you for letting me watch this.
A little better than Uncensored 1995.
Uncensored 1995 was probably the worst thing I've ever watched in my entire 25 years of being alive. So thank you for that.
That's a bit harsh.
Are you gonna tell me I'm wrong?
No, it was an abysmal show.
The fact that I sat here watching that shit, and I was like, "There's no way he made me watch this. Like, there's no way."
Yeah, you're ready to watch some good classic wrestling, then you got.
I was like, "Oh, cool, WCW. Never watched it. Heard some things. Let's see." Fucking Dustin Rhodes and whoever in a back of it.
I can't even like recall any of the matches other than that.
That and then the Harlem Heat. Nasty Boys.
Was Kevin Sullivan on that show?
Oh my god, I don't know.
So you're expecting Goldberg and DDP and
I was expecting
Hulk Hogan,
something.
Sting was on the show. I think he wrestled like Earthquake or some stupid shit.
Did he?
Big Bubba, the Boss Man.
I don't know. I just remember lots of Scooby-Doo shenanigans happening.
Yes, the Renegade. That was
Renegade. Yes, Renegade.
Is.
Jimmy Hart. That's all I really remember. Ric Flair was there being a piece of shit. What else was new? So,
well,
that's all I really remember from that show.
Good to hear. This was a upgrade from that.
Oh, eons above.
That's great to hear. But speaking of Renegades. Couple of Renegades over there at the ShElite Showcase.
What the fuck?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Katie, for making the time to come on here to watch the show and all that shiz.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Where can everybody find you and listen to the ShElite Showcase?
So you can follow me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13. I have a link tree in my bio. It'll take you to all things ShElite Showcase. So we stream live on Twitch every Thursday night around 9 p.m. Eastern, unless something happens. like holidays, it was all different, but whatever.
Right.
We have a YouTube channel that's also in the link tree. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We do the weekly show, which is ShElite Showcase. I have a interview series I do, which Kyle so graciously was on.
I'm just happy to be a part of it.
It was a good time. That's my baby. I love that show the most, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's always a good listen.
Thank you. I try to make it a good listen. It's my guess. It's my guess. It's all them. I just ask questions. So yeah, Inside the Mind of, and then there's a collab show called In the Crowd. I do every once in a while. I'm gonna rebrand that, I think, into something completely different. And then Savannah is gonna have a show out sometime in January about New Japan. So
nice.
We kind of have a lot happening over there.
Man, you're a big mover and shaker over there. Love it.
I'm trying here.
I mean, what do you guys think? Yeah, me too. Me too.
I think this is the first time I've heard you use these fucking sound bites.
It's been a while. I always forget they're there.
Well, I'm happy I got to bring that back for you.
Hey, that's
why
nothing else. That's why the people tune in.
Exactly. Not about the wrestling. No.
Mm-mm.
The drum rolls, the applause.
What's your favorite knock joke?
Oh my god.
Or I guess any joke, if you have a better one.
I don't even know. What's your favorite joke? Yeah, it's not so fun, is it?
Hold on. Give me a second. Who's a wrestler that we don't like?
Ric Flair.
No, he's fine.
Cody Rhodes?
His big stupid penis is fine. Cody Rhodes. Yeah, all right. So ask me again what my favorite joke is.
Okay, Kyle, what is your favorite
Cody
joke?
Rhodes. Once again, thank you to Katie from the ShElite Showcase for joining me on today's TNA review. Like I said in the beginning, check her out on Twitter at KatieWrasslin13. I'll put all of her info in the description, but go check out her link tree for all of the various shows that she does. She just plugged them better than I ever could. So go check that out and check me out, all my full episodes at apronbump.com. Make sure to check out the YouTube as well for full episodes, clips, video versions of the podcast, as well as some unique YouTube content, YouTube exclusive content. I have to sneeze. Hold on a second. But go check out. What was I talking about? Oh yes, YouTube exclusive content. I'm gonna start pumping out more. YouTube's gonna be like my current day reviews, current day topics that I discuss. Gonna be trying that out. I already did a video titled 100 Things That Could Improve WWE, which was a fun one. Go check that out on YouTube if you have not already. But have a few more ideas that will be coming out in the future. By the time this drops, you might already see a little something. I don't know. But so go check that out. And yeah, like, sub, share, spank me. I don't know. What else do you need to do to make me Joe Rogan? That's all I got for you guys. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Smooches all around.
Yeah.
I'm hard.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest.